The night was quiet until the screech of tires shattered the peace. Ethan Miller, a single dad, had just finished his shift at the warehouse and was walking down the dimly lit street, his jacket zipped against the cold, his mind full of tomorrow's lunchbox prep for his daughter. He was tired, but there was a fire in him that kept him moving, his little girl. That's when he saw it. A black SUV swerved near the curb, its door flung open, and a child stumbled out. A boy no older than 10, his eyes wide with fear. A second car screeched to a halt across the street. Men jumped out, faces masked, guns drawn. Ethan froze for a second, instincts clashing with reason. This wasn't his fight. He should run. He should hide. He had a daughter waiting for him at home. But then he heard it, the boy's cry, a trembling, desperate, "Help me!" And Ethan didn't think. He just moved. He sprinted toward the boy, shoving him behind his own body as the masked men raised their weapons. Shots rang out, loud enough to rattle his bones. Without hesitation, Ethan shielded the child, taking the bullet in his shoulder. The force knocked him to his knees, but he kept his arms around the boy, whispering through gritted teeth, "You're safe, kid. You're safe." Moments later, the street flooded with security detail. Men in suits swarmed in, tackling the attackers and forcing them to the ground. Sirens wailed in the distance. The boy clung to Ethan, sobbing, "Don't leave me. Please don't leave me." Ethan fought through the pain, squeezing the boy's hand. "I'm not going anywhere. You're going to be okay." What Ethan didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that the boy he just saved wasn't just any child. He was the son of one of the most powerful billionaires in the country, a man used to bodyguards, bulletproof cars, and high walls. But tonight it was a weary single dad who had stood between his boy and death. At the hospital later, Ethan lay pale but alive, stitches across his shoulder. He kept asking the same question to the nurses. Did the kid make it out okay? The door opened, and in stepped a tall, commanding man in an immaculate suit. His face, usually cold and unreadable in news interviews, now carried the weight of gratitude. Beside him, the boy ran to Ethan's bedside, hugging him tight. The billionaire spoke quietly, his voice cracking. "You saved my son. I don't know how to thank you." Ethan winced as he sat up straighter. Just, make sure he grows up kind." "That'll be enough." It was a simple request, but it hit harder than any demand for money ever could. Days turned into weeks, and life for Ethan began to change in ways he never expected. The billionaire, true to his word, didn't just pay the medical bills. He made sure Ethan and his daughter were never left struggling again. A better home, a scholarship fund, a job opportunity. But more than wealth, something deeper grew between them: respect. Ethan never asked for anything. He never boasted about what he'd done. He just went back to being a dad, packing lunches, tying shoelaces, and reading bedtime stories. But now, whenever his daughter laughed in their new home, whenever the boy he saved came by to visit and play, Ethan realized something profound. Sometimes the smallest acts of courage ripple into lives in ways you can't imagine. That night on the street could have ended in tragedy. Instead, it became the beginning of two families crossing paths bound not by blood or status, but by sacrifice. And through it all, Ethan's words lived on in the boy's memory. Words whispered in pain, but remembered with strength. "You're safe, kid. You're safe." Because true safety doesn't always come from walls of steel or fortunes stacked in banks. Sometimes it comes from the unshakable heart of an ordinary man who refuses to look away. And that, in the end, changed everything.